Hi, I'm Sandra Viktorova, filling in for Pam Giganti. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, earlier this week, at the start of the 2019 legislative session, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis gave his first State of the State address since being sworn in January. The governor touted the accomplishments of his administration thus far, including suspending Broward Sheriff Scott Israel and requesting the resignations of every member of the Florida Water Management District. Governor DeSantis also urged lawmakers to work together as he pushes for more environmental protections, lower taxes, big changes in education, and making schools safer.
We are repositioning our water policy to meet the needs of our citizens by...
And joining me now to share more on the big issues facing lawmakers this session is Sean Foreman, chair of the Department of History and Political Science at Barry University, and Catherine DiPaolo, university instructor in the Department of Politics and International Relations at Florida International University. Well, from guns to marijuana to suspended Sheriff Scott Israel, a lot of controversial topics. But what I found interesting is that the governor in his State of the State address started with the environment and water quality. Surprising to you?
Here. But, you know, a lot of that didn't sound like your typical conservative Republican. There's some progressive ideas to use government to accomplish goals, and that might run into some conflict with Republicans in the legislature.
You know, we heard him talk about appointing a chief science officer, establishing a task force, to look at this whole, the whole issue of these algae blooms, red tide. Would you say, at least on this topic, even folks who are not Republicans, would like to see more done and would support him on some of these issues?
I believe so. I think Democrats have a lot to like in the environmental policy of Governor DeSantis. And I think part of this is actually a generational issue. And I think as a Gen Xer, he is just very much pro-environment, and I think is going to use all of his resources toward that. And in Florida, this is an extremely important issue to all voters.
Now, he's talking about increasing spending on this issue by $1 billion. Do you think we'll see something bold out of this legislature on this whole issue of water quality?
Well, the governor asked for more spending in several areas. He said that was the longest speech he'll ever give the State of the State. It's probably the biggest budget increase he'll ever propose. Coming in this year, it's $3 billion more than the previous.
Another topic, compensation for the victims of the MSD shooting. That's going to be a really tough one, right?
It is. They had a fund that and they had a commission that determined the use of that funding. Whether more funding for families is the priority right now as opposed to greater school security and accountability for what happened in that incident, I think that needs to be sorted out.
So what's your take on the issues legislators will tackle this session? We want to hear from you. You can reach us on our Facebook or Twitter pages at YourSouthFL. While you're there, you can catch up on previous segments and stay up to date on the latest news and community events happening across South Florida. Well, it's estimated that only about a quarter of all computing or computer science jobs are held by women, and women of color are even more underrepresented, only accounting for 3% of these jobs. Well, experts say the key to closing this gender gap is to catch students' interest while they are young with supportive programs and mentoring. Our next guests are helping to do just that through their female-centric clubs and community workshops. Girls from elementary to high school learn how to write computer programs that generate art, showing them the creative possibilities of coding. And here to share more is Code Art co-founder and CEO Amy. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the police raid of the Stonewall Inn, a gay club in Manhattan. The riots following this event helped ignite the gay rights movement in this country. And while our nation has come a long way from the hate and bigotry of this period, there are still many challenges facing the LGBTQ community, particularly for young people. Last year, a report on LGBTQ youth revealed alarming levels of attempted suicide among transgender youth, dealing with family rejection, bullying, and harassment. Here in South Florida, the nonprofit Pride Lines is working to support and empower the LGBTQ youth and the community by providing a safe space as well as promoting positive dialogue and helping to foster social change. And here to share more is CEO of Pride Lines, Victor Diaz-Herman, and Vice Chair of Miami Beach Pride, Scott Allen Bader. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
So let's start with this. Pride Lines, it was founded to help youth. It's changed. So where are you today?
That is a great question. We were founded to support LGBTQ youth back in 1982. And about 5 years ago, we realized that if we really wanted to serve our young people, we couldn't just serve them through the age of 24.
So I know you produced a video that
Yes.
shows a little sample, just a small picture of the things that you
Absolutely.
do, your organization does. So let's take a look.
Yeah.
I became involved at Pride Lines when I was about 16 years old. I was kicked out of my mom's house, which was constantly happening over and over again. I heard about Pride Lines through a friend of mine.
Pride lines to me represents safety, family, community, pride, and love.
So this idea of providing a safe space was kind of surprising to me. I think there's this impression that Miami can be very accepting. We're making progress in this area, but you both believe there's a whole lot of work to be done. Why?
So Miami does have its safe and affirming areas, and it is a city that is progressive in relation to in comparison to other cities across the country. But like every city, there's still a lot of work to be done, and there are several issues that create a challenge, let's say, for our community here in Miami-Dade County. One is that because we're such a culturally diverse community, we also share or are surrounded by the values of many of the Caribbean and Latin American countries, which aren't always necessarily safe or affirming or accepting of queer people.
Together.
Yeah.
So as a leader in Miami Beach Pride, what do you want, especially young people, to know about the resources that are out there that they may not know about?
Well, it's a great thing to talk about, because at Miami Beach Pride, we bring together a lot of nonprofits. We're a nonprofit ourselves, and we were looking to the experts when this year, for the first time, we created a transgender activation called our T-Tent. And we've had a women's tent in the past, and we really were kind of like, how can we make this work? How can we make this right and address the needs of the community? So as experts, we reached out to Pride Lines. They know how to create safe and affirming spaces. So Miami Beach Pride partnered with Pride Lines in order to make that happen, and we created our first annual T-Tent at Pride. We're all inclusive. We create spaces for everyone in addition to the allied community outside of the LGBTQ community, and we knew Pride Lines was a group that we wanted to work with to make that happen. Everyone was so welcoming. The question we get all the time is, do I have to be gay? No, you don't have to be gay to join the Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. So like I said, a lot of our members are allies as well. So it kind of changes their perception of what is acceptable, what's promoted, and just how to act as a good ally or a member of the LGBT community.
And we, through our partnerships, are creating awareness about our programs and services so that they can also reach out and help people connect with us.
Fantastic. Thank you both for joining us. And for more information on Pride Lines, you can visit pridelines.org. We'll also have this link and ways you can celebrate Pride throughout South Florida on our Facebook page at Your South FL.
Health Channel presents Coronavirus in Real Time.
Millions of homeowners are on forbearance plans. The Federal CARES Act gives borrowers with home loans the right to get a 180-day pause in payments on federally backed mortgages. Many homeowners don't realize they can get additional time if they're unable to pay after that period. New Federal Consumer Relief Guide provides a full explanation of this process. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which produced the guide, explains that homeowners won't accrue fees or interest beyond the amounts already scheduled based on the terms of the mortgage. Consumers should also be wary of anyone offering to help with the forbearance process for a fee. To access this guide and other financial tools, go to consumerfinance.gov.
For more information, visit allhealthtv.com. Stay tuned to the Health Channel for coverage of this situation in real time.